Okay, everybody, for those of you who don't know, my name is Michael Forrest, and it's Quest time. Now, before we get going, I'm going to ask if you can all remain off this raised up platform here. This way nobody blocks the display. This is going to include the top of the speakers here, the top of the display itself, and but feel free to stand or otherwise pose with, take selfies with, shrug here. A lot of people do that. You can't see the display as well, but I have noticed people like to stand on top of it, and if you are one of those people, it's completely cool. A lot of people will try to take my tools away from Shrub. That's completely fine also. He hasn't given them up yet. He is faithful and he is a dedicated, assistant there. All right, now if I can direct your attention to the menu wheel at the lower left, you're going to notice at the very top of this menu wheel is a microphone icon. If that microphone icon is clear, that means we can hear what's happening in your environment. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn that to red. And all this means is that you're muted. So if somebody comes into your space and says, hey, are you still on that thing? We're not going to hear that. You know, if, for example, maybe you have a dog barking in the background, you won't face social ruin back at the campfire by becoming known as the avatar that started barking during its quest time. Or if maybe your phone rings, you won't be known as the avatar start ringing suddenly in the middle of the event. But just because you're muted doesn't mean you can't express yourself. You're going to notice that there's a pink cheek smiley face in your menu wheel. And when you click on that, your emoji panel opens up in front of you and it gives you a wide variety of options with which to express yourself. So let's say I say something deep and meaningful and you feel it right here and it starts to build up inside. You can just let it out, let it flow, and maybe those hearts go up and break the glass above me, right? Maybe some ninjas drop down behind me, but they're not ninjas, they're backup dancers. I break into Quest Time the musical there, and you're very impressed. So you can throw up the applause that I live for, and I can take a minute to drink that right in. Feels good, yeah. You can smile to say yes. If I ask a yes or no question, you can frown to say no. You can, if I say something funny and you feel like showing me you're laughing, you can use the tongue sticky out emoji, as some people call it. You can raise your hand like this, but it's not the same as asking a question. This is how to get my attention in case something goes wrong. Like, for example, the display here catches on fire. That actually happened once because my mods have a good sense of humor. Or maybe you can't hear me all of a sudden. Now, if I only see one of these hands go up, like focus in the back there, I'm just going to keep on going. But if I see 5 of them going up, I know there's a problem I need to address. So if I see a whole lot of you doing it, otherwise, if I do see one, I'll probably remind you that we'll take some questions and comments at the end. So hang in for that if you do have a comment. Now, Quest Time is an event for Quest users, but all are welcome. So if you're on a device or you're thinking about getting a Quest, this is a good place where you can learn about how Quest is going to perform in Altspace. So if you're wondering how whether or not Vader is actually immortal or not, we could talk about that stuff. That's cool, but we're going to mainly focus on how these devices can work and perform in Altspace. Let's see. And before we jump in, just a quick announcement. I haven't yet tried the hand tracking, but if any of you have and want to talk about it, at the end when we take the comments, I'm going to want to hear about that. But what I did try this week was the Oculus Link, right? I've never done that before, right? You got this cable and it attaches to the computer. And the thing about the Quest is when I first got my Quest, I thought it was an awesome device. But then I heard at OC6, they said they were going to be introducing hand tracking and this linking cable. And this is a lot like saying, you buy a bike and you're really happy with the bike. And then all of a sudden, somebody tells you, hey, in a couple of weeks, your bike's going to turn into a car. And that's what it's like. It's just really amazing. I've never experienced a VR experience like that at all. Like I went into the Oculus Home and they've got this bow and arrow thing. And I just sat there in the home space shooting the thing. And it just felt so real. So if you haven't tried the Oculus Link yet, believe me, it is absolutely worth doing. It was very stable. The graphics are incredible. And it was just like getting a whole new headset, for no extra money. And usually when I do these kind of improvements, you got to go out and buy something new, like a whole new headset, and that's not the case. It's pretty amazing. All right, now just to get an idea of how to proceed, I see some emojis here. If how many of you are on a Quest right now? And get some idea of what we're working here. I know how to proceed. If you any emojis will do, or a hand raise, but if you're on a Quest. All right, cool. So we got a bunch of you on Quest. This is good. How many of you are upgrading from an Oculus Go, or you think you're on a Go now and you're thinking about getting a Quest, or you very recently did? Hands up, emojis, anything like that? No, okay, couple, all right. So let's see, how many of you are new to Altspace? Like you recently joined Altspace? Anybody? Got one right there. Okay, couple, few. All right, cool. Yeah, we're getting a lot of new users lately, and during the holiday season, we're probably going to get more. How many of you are thinking about that you're going to get a Quest during the holidays? Anybody think you would be getting a Quest? Anytime? Okay, all right, cool. So that gives me some idea what I'm working with. Thank you for that. Now, when I first got my Quest, right, I was coming from an Oculus Go, and I was in Altspace for a while, and I was used to talking with the one hand. So when I found that I was getting a Quest, all I did was focus on the thought that I was going to be getting a left hand, right? Because I grew up in Brooklyn, so I'm used to expressing myself with my hands. I talk with my hands a lot, and in Altspace, I felt like I wasn't expressing myself as fully as I could with just the one hand. But so I just focused on this hand here. But it turns out that these controllers, they're so much more than hands, right? They're also your feet. They're how you interact with the environment. And if you're here today, you already know some of the basics. Like, the left thumbstick is going to move you around like this, and the right thumbstick is going to turn you in circles. And I can combine them to do these big elaborate circles that make my presentation so much more dramatic. Everybody try this. Everybody go into these big circles here. Let me see how that looks. Because when I look out in the audience like this, I see you all moving in big circles like that, it looks like ballroom dancing. It looks really neat. And I always say, I wish you could all see what this looks like, because from the stage, it looks fantastic. But we recently got a YouTube channel, so check out our event channel and check out our YouTube channel, and you'll actually be able to see what this looks like when everybody's going in these big circles like this. It looks really cool. All right, neat. All right, cool. Now, the thing about these controllers when you first start out is, that's a lot of buttons to take in, and it looks like a lot. It really does, and it can take a few days, like a week or so, to get used to it. I like to go over this stuff, and if you're already comfortable with the controllers, don't worry, because some of these exercises can be fun. All right, let's start out with this grip button here on your right controller and also on your left controller. These grip buttons, they're going to basically be how you interact with your environment. You're going to be able to grip basketballs, sparklers, fireworks, things like that. And in the world editor, when you're working with world building, you can use the grip button to hold an object. And this is actually going to change the behavior of your right thumbstick. No longer is this going to be for turning. When you're holding an object in a world editor, what's going to happen is if you move the thumbstick to the right or to the left, you're going to change the scale of the size of the object. If you move the thumbstick up or down or forward and backwards, it's going to push the object away or it's going to bring it closer to you. All right, so that's important to keep in mind. Now, some of these buttons, it's not so overwhelming because some of these buttons actually do the same thing. This select button, this trigger button, and if you have your left pointer enabled through your main menu, this select button, right? They all do the same thing. So like if I'm actually holding down one of these buttons, like hold down your trigger and you move your hand through the crowd, you can see everyone's name tag up here above their head. And that's how I know that this is Dado over here. And that's Mags in the back. We've got Hummingbird here in the corner. We've got Steven over here. We've got Francis, and you can see Joseph. We've got Karen 666, we've got Carson. And this is basically how you can see everybody's name, right? When you do that. But let's see. But this trigger on the left controller does something different entirely. This is going to cause you to accelerate, right? So if I'm walking along and I press down on the trigger, I'm just going to speed up, right? And just to warm up, because I got off to kind of a rough start with the slides going wrong, I'm going to do a quick lap around the room. If everybody wants to join me, everyone just do a quick lap right here. Maybe we'd make a whirlpool. Everyone want to make a whirlpool with me? Come ahead and go in a big circle like this. You might get dizzy. If you get dizzy, stop. But I want to see what this looks like. All right, everybody going in a circle here. All right, now I'm going to jump on stage, see what it looks like. But don't stop. I want to see. All right, kind of circle-ish. Doing good. Not quite a whirlpool. All right, cool. If everybody actually slides over to this side along this railing, we'll make like a row right here. Right, going back in this direction here along this railing. Right, and what we're going to do is we're going to go with that fast. You're going to hold on that left trigger, and we're going to go really fast toward that glass wall. All right, you ready? Let's go. And see if we get this to sync, because if we do this right, we're going to feel like we're on a boat, and then go back and forth. Little out of sync. I'm going to pause here, see if we can pick it up and get even. All right, now go. All right, yeah, that's pretty organized. It's kind of getting more, more boat-like in here. You might be feeling dizzy. If you are, raise your hand up. Let me see if anyone's feeling dizzy yet, because I'm starting to feel it. All right, okay, we'll do it one more. Well, you're raising your hand and you're standing still. You're dizzy standing still? All right, well, maybe just from watching. I'll accept that. All right, so let's see what else we have here. We also have these teleport buttons, right, on both controllers. And I'm hoping you got your teleport transition set up to a line dash teleport. You can do this through your input and comfort options in your main menu. But the way this works is your teleport is going to work on both controllers. And when you press it and hold it down, you're going to see like a circle appear on the floor or wherever you're aiming, right? So let's give this a shot, and let's everybody come up over by this glass wall over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to hold down with our right controller on that teleport button, and we're going to aim across the room toward next to that ramp. And as soon as we let go of that button, boom, we're going to take them right across the room. Everybody teleport with your right controller over toward me. Can you do that? Everybody teleport, zipping across. See one person walking, that's full. No, his hands up. All right. Okay, let's see. Zipping across. All right, cool. Now let's try it with our left controller. You hold down that left teleport button. and aim with the circle by the glass wall there. And as soon as you let go, lift your thumb back up, boom, you can take them right across. One cool thing you can do with this is you can actually use both of these teleport buttons at the same time. So if you hold down both of them and you make an X on the floor and you let go of the buttons at the same time, you'll do a zigzag teleport like that, right? And that can be a lot of fun to do. The first time I did this, actually, you know, when I was at the Universe, back then it was in a large world, right? And when the show was over, I went to explore, and I go to the edge of the world, and I look over the edge there, and as soon as I looked over the edge, I fell, like I went out too far, and I started falling, right? And as I'm falling, I looked over, and I saw this cliff, and I reached out with my controller, with my hand rather, right? And I teleported right onto that cliff before I could respawn. And it was in that moment I realized I was finally getting used to the controllers, right? Because there's going to come a point, and you'll remember me saying this, you're always going to feel the plastic in your hands, but there's going to come a time where you're so immersed and you're so in, like, you know, absorbed into the VR experience that you're actually, these are going to feel like your hands. You're not going to think about the buttons you're pushing. You're not going to think about the gestures that you're making. And the best way to get a handle on the gestures is by mirroring. So if somebody sees, you see somebody do something you like, try to copy them. So like, for example, if I say, everybody make a bird like this, all right? Everybody can do that, right? See that? All right? And so if you see somebody doing something like this, you try it yourself. Now, if you press down on the right thumb, actually your right grip button, right, it's the third finger down, you'll now be pointing, right? Maybe I can threaten the audience, say, you better be a good audience. Listen up, see, you better be a good audience, right? Or now if you do the left grip button, right, now you can have both of them like this, and you can give me a Brooklyn hello. You can kind of go like this, everybody give me that, how you doing? Go like that. See the eye, guy's pointing towards his eye. Let's see that. I'm not getting that, not getting that. Looks like Mag's cleaning the air. Okay, well, we got one person doing the picture thing. Let's do that, like picture like that. That's cool. If you squeeze your trigger button there, you can kind of like take that picture, remember it forever, right? Speaking of pictures, if you're holding down both of your buttons like this, you can make the Altspace logo just like that by holding it nice and high. I like to see that. Look at a lot of you doing it, and that's very cool. That looks awesome. Love the way that looks. All right, now if you hold down your trigger buttons on both, you can actually give, like, you know, 2 thumbs up, maybe give 2 thumbs down. Maybe you don't know, right? I saw one guy last week, he did this. I thought that looked cool. Everybody do that? Like that? That's cool looking. And now if you touch your thumb to the buttons or the thumbstick, your thumbs are going to go down. And if you're at something like the Universe and you feel like dancing, you could do like this, all right? I'm told this doesn't look as cool as it feels. So somebody can do that. Actually, it does look as cool as it feels. Yeah, keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep dancing, right? Like that. Like in a portal talk show. A random talk show? Okay. Well, enjoy that. All right. That was random. It was a random talk show. Okay, let's see what else we have. Oh yeah, this is, I'm gonna find my pointer, there it is. Here we have on the left controller. Now, when you're having like a standing room scale experience, occasionally you're gonna walk out past your menu, and it's always the way that when you walk out past your menu, someone's gonna say, open your main menu, and you're gonna look around and not know where it is. Right? This can get kind of annoying because you're always looking for where your menu is. But in your left control, you have this flat button toward the bottom. This is in your Altspace, this is always going to open up your main menu. And if you press it again, it's going to close the main menu, right? So, you know, and that's just some pretty handy information. Get it? It's always in your hand. The menu's always in your hand. No, just a thumbs up? No laughter? Really? That bit's gotten old already? Okay, I see how it is. Yeah, all right. Now let's see. So we have also the, oh yeah, when I first came in on a Quest, I went to the campfire to test it out. And I was feeling really good about it because I was excited, you know, and I felt like I was kind of, you know, I was like kind of walking on air, sort of felt like, you know, I was kind of above everybody, right? And the reason I felt that way is because when I looked down, I realized I was floating this high off the ground, right? I was like just up off the ground. Now, on the Quest, you have to worry about vertical movement, right? And I can see somebody knows what's coming up, SidX. If you could show everybody what happens when you push down on your left thumbstick, what happens? Boom, just like that, you recenter. And we also got Gortho doing it in the back there too. Thank you, Gortho. So what happens is if anytime you feel like you're too tall or too short, just press down on that left thumbstick and that'll correct that. Now, also how to get out of Altspace quickly, all right, is, and don't do this now because if you disappear, I'm going to feel it. I don't have a big crowd today, but if you press on this flat right controller button, it's actually going to take you out of Altspace. So like, you know, somebody comes in and says, hey, your dinner's ready. You just press on that and it's a great way to close the program quickly. But it's also a good thing to press when something goes wrong. Like, for example, if, like, let's say that you move your head to the side and the whole world moves with you because Altspace is frozen, and as you move your head, the world is moving with you. This can make you feel really dizzy and disoriented. And when this happens, it pays to know a quick way to jump out of Altspace. And this is really the best way. You press down on that flat button, and then you hit quit, and then you can restart the app, and that usually fixes most things. Occasionally, though, you are going to have to restart your headset. There are going to be times when this doesn't work. And it pays to know how to restart your headset while you're still in VR. So, like, because if you do it the other way, what can happen is you take the headset off when you go to reset it. And if your headset's not in a charge cycle and that light's not lit up and it takes so long for it to power up, it takes about 20 something seconds, you may feel like your device is broken. So I find that it pays to learn how to reset the device while it's still on your head. And the best way to do this is if you take your index finger, and don't do this now, but if you take your index finger and you move it along the side of your headset, you're going to feel that bump where the power button is. All right, you kind of memorize so you don't develop a feel for where it is. If you press down on it, hold on to it. After about 4 seconds, the device will turn off, but don't let go. Hold down on that button. And about 10 seconds are going to go by, and about after those 10 seconds, you're going to start thinking about, why did Oculus make it take so long? I don't know. And then about 15 seconds, you're going to start thinking about, that friends used to hang out with, you don't see them anymore. You wonder how they're doing. 20 seconds go by, you start thinking about dog you used to have when you were little, and then just when you're starting to rethink your life, at about 23 seconds in there, all of a sudden, you're going to notice, right? You're going to hear this beep and you're going to see the Oculus symbol. And when that happens, take your finger off the button and it'll restart as normal. And then you can just, restart the app and everything should work fine after that. Now, there's another option you need to be aware of, but you need to understand it comes with risks. All right. For example, Oculus did a firmware update once, and I got this notice that said Oculus Home is closing. I'd never seen that before. And it was a blue button that said you could press OK. And it was the only choice was to press OK. So I pressed OK. Right. And I've since learned if this does happen to you, just restart your device. Don't answer the question. Right. Because what happened was when I said OK, the screen just said loading, and it said loading for 5 minutes and nothing happened. So I restarted the device and it just said loading again. So I asked my good friend Google about it, and Google said, a lot of people were having this problem, and the only thing you can do is a factory reset. If you ever need to perform a factory reset, you're going to lose all your photographs, you're going to lose all your apps, you're going to lose all your forward progress in other apps. So like if you were saving the world before dinner, and you stop to eat, and because dinner's important, right? Saving the world can always wait. And then you go back to go in, and you find you have to restart, you have to do a factory reset, you're going to lose all that forward progress and all of your settings. You have to re-download all the apps. It's basically like getting your Quest the day it was you first got it. All right. So it's not without its risk. You need to be prepared that you could lose everything there. But now the thing to keep in mind is, the Guardian system that you have on the Quest, right, is, you're already familiar with this because you've done the tour, you've danced with the robot, you've played with the blimp. That's a good time, and all those things they give you to get used to it, right? But the way you can use the Guardian system in Altspace is kind of unique, and I think it pays to go over how you can use it. But before you mess with your Guardian, keep in mind that I've seen this happen in Altspace. Somebody will be walking along, and all of a sudden they're like that because they hit the wall in the real world. You want to be careful, not to injure yourself, and you want to be careful not to damage your device either. So what you can do is when you mess with your Guardian, it's a good idea to lead with your hands, right? This will give you an idea of how much room you have when you go out past your Guardian. Right, and one of the ways you can use, if you experience dizziness or vertigo in VR, right, one thing you can do, if that hits you, is look at your hand. That's the first way to do it. If you look at your hand and focus on your hand, you'll find the feeling passes, and then you can slowly take away your hand and take in the world again. All right, that'll help with the vertigo if that should happen to you. But another thing that you can do is you can use your Guardian. And the way this works is if you walk up to the edge of your Guardian, you see the Guardian appear as you have your hands there. You see that grid appear in the air. Now you can still touch your thumbsticks, right? So you can move around in VR while still being lined up with the real world wall. And then you can kind of sort of attach it, like I'm attaching my real wall to this display right now, right? And now that it's linked in display here, I'm kind of anchored to the real world. I have a frame of reference. So if I throw myself out into the audience and the audience grows hostile and you all turn on me, come at me, try to make me dizzy, just mess with me. There you go, you're punching me in the face. That's always nice. Serenity, I didn't know you felt that way. That's distressing. But now if I look out, if I start to feel dizzy, which I'm really not, because you guys really aren't trying hard enough, come at me for real, make me dizzy. Oh, that's better. Yeah, I'm starting to feel it. So now I turn over here and I look, and I can still see that display. And I know that display is my real world wall. So there's really nothing you guys can do because I feel very connected to the real world. I feel very steady. Even you blocking my eyes like that, I can still see it. Max, that's good, but I can still see it right there through the corner. I can still see it. There's nothing you guys can do. And so what's going to happen there is I feel very connected to the real world because I have an anchor point. All right. And that can really help you. Another thing you can do is you can switch from a room scale to a stationary experience without ever actually leaving Altspace. So let's say, I'm on the stage here and I'm moving around, I'm getting kind of tired, right? All I got to do is go up to the edge of my Guardian, right? And make sure I got enough room for my head to pass through. I move my head through it. As I move my head through it, the pass through goes off and I can see the real world, right? So I can see the real world, take a sip of my coffee, that's cool. And I see my chair is right over there. So I'm going to go on over here. I'm going to go next, into my chair here, and I'm going to go sit down in my chair. And as soon as I do, I'm going to press the blue button that says I have, switch to a stationary experience, right? And then when I do that, I'll find I'm still actually in Altspace, all right, which is great. Because once you leave your boundary and once the password goes off, all anyone's going to see is your avatar is going to be frozen, like you're having an out of avatar experience. This works in the other direction too. I was moderating an event once, and I felt like getting up and walking around, which was a big deal for me. And the event was almost over, so I figured I'd do it. And I got up to step into my Guardian, which had worked before, but there are going to be times where Request forgets your Guardian, and that's what happened in this case. So I was like, oh no, the host is going to be very upset, and I'm starting to redraw my boundary here. And the host is going to be upset because, I flaked out at the last minute. I got to get back in there. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I'm drawing the line. I'm wondering, why is my play space so big? And I'm coming over here, and as soon as I close the loop and the grid pops up, I look around and I find I'm still in Altspace. So you can do this where you can switch back and forth from a stationary to room scale experience, and this allows you to be comfortable without ever actually really having to leave Altspace. So if you're at an event and you're uncomfortable even standing up too long, or maybe you're really into it, like you're just playing some great music and you want to get up and dance, you're going to be able to do this stuff and switch back and forth. And all anyone will ever see while you're making these adjustments is your avatar kind of like that. That's my imitation of an out of avatar experience. Is it convincing? What's funny is I did this bit one time and I actually crashed. And everybody thought I was being dramatic, like a dramatic pause. They're like, wow, he's really dedicated. My avatars are completely frozen because I wasn't here. I was able to back in a couple minutes. It was pretty funny, but yeah, that actually can happen. Now I'm going to show you something completely useless, and this is if you, and it's just fun to do it. If you go up to your Guardian, right, and you have enough room to pass your head through it, you stick your head through it, and you're going to see the real world, right? If you do this super slow, you're going to see both realities at the same time. And this is just fun to do to see the avatars of your friends in your real world environment. And it's also give you a sense of how tall avatars are. I'd say they're all about 6 feet tall, believe it or not. And you get like a real sense. It's just fun to see avatars like standing there in your living room or, in your office or wherever your play space happens to be. It's fun to do. Now, one of the great things about the Quest is it just works. There aren't too many problems, and there aren't too many problems that can't be solved by like a reset or something like that. But there are some great accessories that actually make it work even better. You have these like the dangling earbuds, right? And they kind of hang up the side of the headset there, and they're sort of like VR earrings, right? I don't know what I look like when I'm in VR, but I like to think when I'm wearing these earbuds, I look kind of fancy, right? The first time I tried this, they were on back order, and I'd already been used to the Quest for about a month. It has really great audio. There's no feedback on it. So I got these earbuds, and I'm thinking, how is this going to make my experience any better? So I went to the campfire to check it out. And, I went in the campfire, and I'd been in Altspace for like 10 months, and I didn't know there was a breeze in the campfire. Nobody told me this. So I walked over to the railing, and the water that's going right next to it, I heard the water rushing. And I'd never heard that before either. It turns out there's a lot of ambient sound in Altspace that makes the experience more immersive and, makes you feel like you're in here more, which, when you get down to it, that's really what it's all about, right? This next item is these inserts. And what happened was when I've heard a lot of people say that the Quest is uncomfortable, all right? And I actually know somebody that returned it because of this. And I myself, I have high cheekbones, so like had the top of the device pushing into my head, right? And I got a sore. I'm seeing 2 thumbs up, so Wolfzine knows what I'm talking about here. I was pushing in the top of my forehead there, and I got a sore to develop. And I kept coming into VR, and I had to host an event, so I was going to the AltspaceVR 101. I was hosting that, and I got up to the part where I was telling everybody, I don't know if you've seen it, but I'm telling everybody about how that, big bad Michael Forrest, he needs to be stopped because he knows too much about Altspace. I got to that part and I felt all this like moisture in my headset, right? And it was weird. I didn't know what it was. I know what you're thinking, all right? But Michael Forrest does not sweat. I'm seeing people don't like this bit. And that's because what happened was, turns out, when I come out of the event, because I finished out, trained professional, right? And then I go out of the event, and my wife comes in and asks me how the event went. She's cool like that. And I took my headset off, and as I'm doing it, before I could even answer, she says, go look in the mirror. And she did it in that voice, that voice that says you have to go look. So when I look in the mirror, right, which this speaker will have to look like my mirror right there, okay? So now I'm looking in the mirror, and I realize I've got these 2 red rings right around my eyes. It turns out that that sore on my forehead had opened up, and I was actually bleeding in my headset. I know it's gross. I cleaned it up really good, and Max doesn't like this part, right? But I tell you what, I ended up with a cool story. Right? I walked around for the next week after that going, Altspace, I bled for you. And then I put my fist up all dramatic. I go, that's right, Altspace, I bled for you like that. And Humber didn't like this bit either. We're gonna have to drop it from the routine. Oh, Mags has got a rage on though. Mags, did you bleed for Altspace? You don't like that? No shaking your head? Nobody likes this? There we go. Okay, cool. Oh, I got a couple people doing. All right, cool. Altspace, we bled for you. There we go. And you dropped your voice down like that. I think it's fun bit. But so what happened was I knew I had to do something about this, and I found a company called VR Cover, and they make one insert that'll actually help you if you have light bleeding through. Light bleeding through. That's what I did. But the one I got was the cloth one. And the cloth one, it feels like you got a face, your face in a pillow. It comes with two, right? And these two, you can be washing one while you're wearing the other, so you can keep it nice and clean. But it comes from Thailand, and I had to wait a week for it to arrive. And in that week, I learned something about the Quest, and that's the oils in your face will actually condition the material and it'll actually soften it, like the way you like breaking a baseball glove kind of a thing. So there's a breaking in period. Now, if you get the urge to modify your Quest, like to change the straps or put on one of those counterbalance weights or to put in a battery type of thing, an external battery on the back of it, to change the weight of the Quest, what's going to happen is, if you do this before the breaking in period, what can happen is what can happen if you do this, it's going to throw weight of it, and this way you're never going to feel like the Quest is really comfortable. It actually is. Once that breaking in period is over with, you're going to get to a point where you don't even feel it on your face anymore. It's just going to be, you're just here, and then after that, if it's still uncomfortable after you've been using it for a few weeks, that's the right time to modify it. Once it's broken in, you got to give it time for it to get used to you and you to get used to it. All right, so that's a good thing to do. Now, these prescription inserts will actually help protect your glasses because you'll no longer be wearing them when you're in VR, and they'll also help protect the lenses of your headset. And protecting your headset, you can get this Oculus travel case. And that's great because, listen, if the box that the Quest comes in is a great place to store it, but if you have to move around the travel case, you can't do better than that. And it's a good idea to keep it stored in a dark place because let's say that sunlight comes down through the window and hits your lenses and damages your headset. Well, it's not going to be like losing your toaster in appliance. If you're in Altspace a lot or any other platform where you're making a lot of friends in VR and you're interacting with them all the time, when something happens to your device, it's going to register as a deep sense of loss. I've seen it happen to people. So it's a good idea to take care of your equipment if you can. If you want to try any of these products here, we have them up on altvr.com. If you go to channels, you'll see on the second page toward the end, you'll see Ravenhole event, like it says on the balcony up there. And there you'll see all the products listed on the left-hand side. There'll be links to them so you can try them if you like. Also, there's a join Discord button. If you want to help us out with these events, you can just press that button. And at the top is a subscribe to our channel button. And since we don't get paid to do this, well, it's the only way we really know that you enjoy what we're doing. And if you would press that subscribe button, it would mean the world to me because it's just a better day when somebody presses that button and it makes me feel good. I guess I've gone on long enough, it makes us feel good. We like it. And so, press that subscribe button. It helps let Altspace know that you enjoy our content. Now, we are going to be taking your questions and your comments. So if you've tried accessories, you want to tell us about it. If you've solved any problems on the Quest that I didn't mention you want to talk about, now's the time for that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a button appear on your lower right as if by magic, the raise hand button. And if you press that, you're going to get on my list. And then I'm going to call on you and I get to feel like a radio show host when somebody presses on that. So if you press that raise hand button, you'll get on that list there. And don't press it again, just press it one time and you'll get on the list there. See, we have some already. We have, we have Karen666. You are on the air. What's up, Karen? How's it going?
Yeah, I'm not good. Can you explain in the display, the settings, there's
the display settings?
And the render scale, all that kind of thing. Can you explain what they do?
Well, in any alteration of this may affect your performance. So it's kind of at your own risk thing. And if you want to play with them, I'll tell you what I have them set up. I'm not recommending it, but for me, it's been awesome, But again, I can't say that it's not going to affect your performance. It may cause your screen to flicker, or it may become choppy. But what I have them set at is, display. I have mine set up the highest it can go. I have the anti-aliasing at 8x MSAA. I have and you'll get a little warning that says this setting may hurt performance. I haven't found it to be so, but they say it can. And if you're willing to live with that risk, then you go ahead and do that. In world render scale, I have set to 2. Menu render scale, I have set to 2. It's very important that the world render scale and the menu scale, that those numbers match whatever they are. Because when they're different, they can actually cause your headset to crash. That's what I have mine set up as. But again, you do it at your own risk, because it can affect performance. But I haven't actually seen it. So, but they do say that it can do that. And I know Oculus cares about hitting the right FPS setting. You know, they make it, and so does Altspace. They made a very big deal about hitting those numbers, and this will throw those numbers off. But it does improve the graphics. It makes things easier to read, makes things a lot less blurry, and I think it's a great experience personally. But I think it's an individual thing. Some people would prefer it turned down and have the increased performance. Me, I prefer to have the better graphics myself. You know, so that's how I deal with it. All right, so let's see if we have anybody else here. We have also Marcel. Marcel, you're on the air. What's going on, Marcel? Where are you?
Yeah, how you doing, Michael? Long time no see.
Hey, Marcel. Yeah, I'm seeing you well.
How you doing, mate?
What's up?
Question. I have a question.
Sure.
On Altspace, or only on Altspace, I have the
Yes.
problem that, especially in the beginning, it says Wi-Fi lost. So somehow something is wrong, and I asked already Oculus, and they don't have a clue. They say it's my router because I have an behind
You know
my
what?
modem, I have an yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about, right? When I got my Quest, I was coming from a Go, right? I never had
Yeah.
a network issue on the Go at all. But when I got my Quest, I had nothing but performance issues connecting to my network. It was constantly dropping, right?
Yeah.
Now my network
Yeah.
had two bands on it. It had 5G and it had
And 2.4.
2G. Yeah,
Yeah.
2.4, that's right.
But
And
yeah.
what I did was I switched to the 2G because while it is slower, it is more reliable. All right, and it also seems to have a further range. For some reason, the Quest's network reception is not as powerful as it was on the Go. Maybe they went with a cheaper antenna. Maybe they had to make room for that fan. I don't know, but I do know that it was a problem. And I'm pretty far away from my access point. So for me, like, well, dropping down to 2.4 or 2.5, whatever it is, made it a lot more reliable. And I can't, recommend doing that enough because it changed everything. Now it's just been super reliable since I did that. Yeah, but it will impede other
Yeah.
apps. Like Rec Room doesn't seem to like the lower bandwidth. I've noticed that it's a problem for them. But for Altspace, going down to 2.5, it worked great for me. So give it a shot and it might help. Yeah. Let's see if we have anybody else. We got time for one more here. Let's see. We have Joseph. Joseph, what's going on?
How much is the Quest?
How much what?
Is the Quest? How much is the Quest?
How much is the Quest? Oh, that's a good one. I don't know off the top of my head. I think it depends which size you get. Does anybody else know this? I'm seeing a hand there. Wolfenstein, you know this? Raise your hand up. Press that raise hand button, Wolfenstein. Let's see. Wolfenstein, help me out. Press that raise hand button. I don't see you on the list. No? Okay, anybody else? Anybody else know the current price of the Quest? I think it's like $250, but I'm guessing. Yeah, and that's US. Thumb down? No, it's not $250. No? Okay, it's a fist. It's a zero. You're making a zero. No, not a zero. All right. Max raised her hand, but I'm having fun with the miming. Let's see. Max, if you raise your hand there. Okay. Want to answer this. Okay, that's $349 and $500, depending on which version you get. So $349, just got this text. That's right. $349 for the low memory version and $500 for the high memory. So yeah, that's the current rate. They're always changing those prices, and I never remember them for some reason. They just brought down the Go to, I think it's 125 or 150 or something like that. Yeah, getting a thumbs up, so I hit that one right. All right, cool, good. All right, now before we head out, I want to show you a couple of things real quick. This is the flight tool. Now, normally we end our events by teaching people how to fly, but as a Quest user, you have access to this flight tool, and some of you may have not used it. So when we take you off flying, if you like, I'll show you how to use it. Just come up to me and ask me how to use the flight tool, and I'll show you. It's pretty cool, actually. You can put it in either hand, and you can draw short lines with it, and you move slowly in that direction, or you can draw long lines and move very quickly in those directions. What's also pretty cool about this, if you're having a seated experience, is you don't actually get really dizzy using these. It can get you a little wobbly if you're standing up, though, so that can get some get used to. If you've learned anything here today, share what you've learned. Like say you're in a campfire, right? And they see a user like this far into the ground, and you walk out to them and you go, "What's wrong, little buddy?" And they look up at you and they go, "I'm on a Quest and I'm stuck in the ground. I need help." Just tell them to press on that left thumbstick. They'll pop up and they'll feel better. You'll feel better because you helped somebody, and that's kind of how we help this Altspace keep on going. All right. So now, if you want to fly with us, and thank you all for joining us. You've been a great audience. The way we're going to do this is we're going to head out to music. So we're going to go up this ramp into that blue load screen light, and we're going to head on over to the Flight Academy. So let's head on out. Let's go on up that ramp there. The screen didn't go again. What is it with the slide? Let's see here. No? Everyone see the black screen or me? Black screen? Anybody? Oh, let me unmute everybody while we're on this. Just ruin my exit here. Let's see. There we go. Okay, everybody can unmute if you like. Let's see here. Oh, there it goes. All right, it was just me maybe, I don't know. Up the print to the music. Sorry for the less than graceful exit. All right, everybody. Show the moves if you got them. Move the music if you can. All right, into the light, and thank you for joining us, and I'll see you all next time.